Good morning, beautiful. It is great to see you. Just putting my crystals at the ready. Of course we're inside because it's blowing out there. It's actually was really pretty, gaily overnight. It's calmed down a bit, but it's no way outside weather. So we get to do rocks. And look, this is flint. And yes, it is truly a spearhead. Oh yes, it was given to me by a friend. Long time ago now, and it's lovely, and people say, oh, it's a Christmas tree, and it is, but I always wonder if this is a spear that actually killed a bison, because I'm sure that it's from the American First Nation back in the days. Who knows who it was that made it this shape. Good morning, Linda. It's lovely to see you. So, it's fabulous because it reflects blue light. At least it looks blue, the reflections to me. And it's so clearly, there's the shape, there's obviously the spear shaft is supposed to be lashed on here. It's beautiful. Ruby Roo, it's great to see you. Good morning. So flint, and this always makes me think of a little hedgehog. It is, of course, quartz and pyrite. And whichever way you look at it, it really sparkles. This was given to me by a friend as well. He'd been to see John of God in Brazil and bought it back for me, which is so sweet. Good morning, Jan. Well, the northerly, because Jan is down the south end of New Zealand and I'm in the middle, so the northerly that's here will probably reach you eventually. But, not there yet, so it's beautiful down south. So we're doing sparkly rocks inside under the artificial light because it's so grey outside, there's not much to see by. So there it is. Beautiful little points, also perfect and glorious. And last but not least, this too. Oh, look, I forgot to start the timer. This too was given to me by a friend. You can see a pattern emerging here. Julian is on the bridge of the Enterprise defending us against camels bumps on the internet. Look, it's got this little point that grows through it. That's why you can see it, the light, the shape of it diffracted through the different facets. Good morning, Nora. Yay, you're here. And it's beautiful because you can see through it, and it's got all these little bits growing inside and outside. Yeah. The friend who gave this to me was a real crystal nut, and, she got a really good one. It's got a teeny tiny little rainbow in it somewhere as well, but I don't know if I can find it. For anyone who doesn't know, you get rainbows in quartz when there's actually water inside it. You get rainbows in anything when there's water inside, in a facet, in a plane, and then when light strikes it, it diffracts and breaks apart and becomes colourful. So, today, being aware that I must have spoken for at least 3 minutes before I turned the timer on. We're in no time now because I don't really know what time it is. I want to pick up straight from where we left off yesterday. Yesterday I was facing fear. And my dark nights of the soul don't seem to last very long. It resolved beautifully last evening, and it resolved in the way that I had been consciously choosing to think about as much as I could, and there were many times I didn't. My body said, I'm scared, there's the thing that I'm concerned about, and my brain, when I was able to be conscious of it, said, hang on a minute, no, this is what I'm holding, that I'm having a knowing in myself that I did my best, and that I know that things always turn out the best that they can, and that really is the best, the most benevolent outcome. And so that's the space I want to be in, that this is turning out perfectly, and in fact it already has turned out perfectly. So that was the space that I was choosing, but I was flip-flopping between the two, let's make no mistake. However, when I looked back on how I did yesterday, I was aware that I wouldn't have handled it like that, I don't know, however many months prior. I wouldn't have been as conscious, and I wouldn't have had as much confidence in myself because I hadn't overcome the last time I was scared, right? So the point being that prior to this, I was really used to obsessing about things going badly. For me, it's been a journey to gradually become the person who doesn't do that. And the thing that you find is you have an idea, you have a theory, you have a philosophy, you have a principle. And then sooner or later, life gives you an opportunity to actually have an experience and apply it, to make it real, to initiate it from philosophy into experience. And so, I had another one of those yesterday. In fact, I had another one of those for about the last week, but yesterday I was really very present with it because I'd kind of gone past a point of no return and then I was waiting to see what would happen. And so I was very aware that my state of mind and my state of body broadcasts a signal to the universe and says, this is how I'm being, please give me more of this, please give me more ways to feel more of this, because I know you have to endorse who I'm being, and so whatever I'm being, I'm going to get more of, because this is my command to you, universe, that you endorse who I'm being. So I thought, well, I better be conscious about this as much as I can and choose who I'm being about this. And that is, I'm better at doing that than I used to be because I've had more practice, right? So the first time, and it was years ago now, it was before I even discovered Joe Dispenza's work, which has made such a difference to me. The first time I started to consciously think I need to choose a different thought and a different feeling from what I'm habitually used to doing, it was really hard. And I still felt lots of fear. And because I was feeling lots of fear, I didn't really create much of a change. But, I've got a little bit better at it, and I got a little bit better at it, and then I really started creating coherence in my brain and body, and it got easier. And I've really been overcoming fear in various ways in the last, 18 months, however long it is. Isn't that interesting? So, newness, of course, is the unknown, Linda. You understand this because you're a student of Joe's work as well. And you've had a lot of unknown experiences that have come out of nowhere and been absolutely horrible. So your body and your brain, and many of us are like this, okay? Linda is not on her own. My body and brain too. There's degrees, more or less, but this is an evolutionary thing. That you have an experience and you remember it if it's painful, because emotions help us remember experiences, because, we remember things better if we know how they feel. Emotions really help us remember stuff, good, bad, or otherwise. And so if you have an experience and it's painful, you're going to remember it, and your brain is actually going to be looking out for anything similar to raise a red flag and say, oh, that's the same as this other thing that was really horrible. I better get ready to defend myself. And that's what happens, right? And what happens, and I want to talk about obsessing today. I want to talk about obsessing negatively, and I want to talk about obsessing positively. Because we're all really good at obsessing negatively because of this thing that says, if there's something that was awful and I see something like it, I then have to be ready and watching out and vigilant and worrying and concerned about whether that thing that I see that might be about to arrive is actually going to arrive. And you can stay in a state of perpetual fear and readiness, and of course that's anxiety, that's worry, that's, it's even OCD apparently. I've heard Joe say that. I don't know much about OCD, but really what I do know about that, this is the thing I do know about, I know about PTSD as well. The brain gets stuck in a loop. And what the loop is pretty much, that was bad, I'm seeing something, hearing something, sensing something, aware of something in my environment that reminds me of that, and I'm just going to keep playing this over and over and over and again, right? That's just what happens. The brain gets stuck in a loop. And of course, the thing about that, when it's a negative obsession, is that the more you fire and wire that set of thoughts, that set of behaviours, that set of whatever it is that you do when you get stressed, the more connections you are making in your brain to reinforce those feelings and those behaviours and that state of being and that identity, which is what it becomes. You think it's you, it's not, but it's hardwired in your brain, it's conditioned in your body, so you're really used to doing this negative obsessing about stuff. And so, it's going to take some determination and some choosing over and over and over again, and don't I know it, to actually unfire and unwire all of those connections and get better at obsessing about something good. And that's a big freaking challenge if you're not used to doing it. It really is. Because why is it so hard, right? Your body is used to having certain conditioned responses to external stimuli. There's a stimulus in your environment, your brain goes, oh, it's that, fires off the chemistry unconsciously, and when this happens to us and we think, why am I suddenly scared? We don't even know. We just, the brain has identified something, you don't even consciously get aware of what it is identified, suddenly you're scared. And then because those hormones of stress are flowing in your body, because, the brain is spying on the body and the body is spying on the brain all the time. There's just this constant two-way conversation between them. And when the body starts to feel afraid, immediately the brain starts thinking more fearful thoughts that go with the fear. This is what actually happens. It's literally what happens. You think a fearful thought, you have a fearful thinking, fearful feeling, and then your brain goes looking for more associated networks of neurons to fire to, make you feel more think more of just how you were feeling, and round it goes. And that really is how those negative thought loops work. Because remember, the brain works by associations. One of the two big rules of neuroscience is association and repetition. And you can see with obsessing about anything, whether positively or negatively, it's the same thing. Obviously, if you're going round and round and round, you're repeating something. You're firing and wiring the same neurons, and you're making more and more connections between them. Think about that in the context of something good. You're firing and wiring, oh my God, my life is amazing, or whatever it is, and you're getting stronger and stronger about it, right? But the other thing that happens in the brain is association. So I can look over, and I'm just doing this so you can see how my brain works. I look at my television, which we haven't actually watched for some time because we never watch TV, we only watch DVDs. But the DVD player broke, so the first thing I think about is the fact that the television can't communicate with the DVD player. And then I remember that the DVD player, see, there's memories hooked together. The DVD player, I can make it, I've hooked it all up, all the wires go, but the television doesn't see the DVD player. And it's probably because the television date back to 2006, and it's just too old, which is a shame because it works beautifully. So, and then we associate from that, oh yes, and how much technology has changed, and there's any number of ways that my brain can go because it makes these associations. Now, there's no negative whatever really associated with the fact that the television can't talk to the DVD player and we can't watch movies on it. We watch movies another way. It's no problem. But if instead of the television I was thinking about, there's that unknown potential. I don't know which way it's going to go. I don't know if I can cope with it. I don't know if I'm going to like how it goes. I don't know how it's going to feel. I'm scared of whether I will feel good or whether I will feel, That's a different set of neural nets that are all together by association, but it's all around fear. And that's how it works. But here's the thing that we don't, most of us, in fact, I think all of us, nobody gets programmed to do this from an early age. Is to obsess about something good. There are some people who just grow up really positive because they grow up with lots of positive experiences for whatever reason, and let's not assign blame, right? We all just have whatever it is that we've come into, and there's no point saying it's anyone's fault because here it is, and assigning blame just makes you the victim. Oh, they did that to me. Great. Whoopee. Do you feel any better? No. So the only thing that's going to be helpful is to start obsessing about your own future and how you want that to be. And the same thing will happen when you start thinking, well, actually, okay, I'm really used to feeling scared. I've done it, as some of you beautiful people have said recently to me in this space, I've done it for 27 years. I've done it for 29 years. I can't stop my meds. And this is not about saying, oh, you need to stop your meds. Let me be very clear about that. The meds stop you from climbing the walls, okay? They have their place. There's nothing wrong with taking medication if it helps you to function. But what you want to do, what's happening, and this is an important part, this is the reason why just deciding that you're going to wean yourself off your medications and not take them after a while can be very difficult. I'm not going to say it doesn't work, because some people do it, but it can be very difficult because you still got the brain that's conditioned to be highly vigilant, to go from, oh, is the danger there? Is the danger there? Can I hear something? Oh, there's a bad memory. Oh, there's a thing I have to deal with. Oh, there's a scary feeling in me that I have to squash down. And the brain is going from this to this to this to this very quickly. And when it does that, it gets compartmentalized. And the little parts of your brain that should be talking to each other and communicating and creating balance and harmony in your body and your mind, your awareness, your emotions, your energy, everything, instead, they're like an orchestra with no conductor. And there's a bunch of percussionists, and they're all banging the shit out of their drums and triangles and xylophones and everything, and they're all out of time, and they're out of harmony, and it's like that in your head and in your body. And that's the reason why you have to take the meds, because, your brain is completely incoherent. So to create coherence is what is going to allow you to not need the medication to stop your brain from being bananas. That's the thing. You have to create coherence. That incoherence of the highly vigilant, aroused, fearful, angry, whatever, all of those emotions of either anger, fear, or sadness. Everything is an extrapolation from those. Guilt, depression, despair, all of that stuff. Very incoherent states in the brain. There's no communication between all the different parts, and that's why we feel so broken up. We literally are. When your brain is incoherent, you're incoherent. Your body is incoherent. Everything and your entire life is incoherent, because the universe has to endorse that. Oh my God. So to create coherence is what will actually allow you over time to recondition your brain down out of that high anxiety state. Now, some people, it has happened. Some people sit down, they do one, and they get a little bit of information, they get inspired, they do one of Joe Dispenza's meditations, and kaboom, it's changed, because usually they've done a ton of work on themselves and they've just been waiting for a key. And, they may have practiced meditation for a long time, but it never really did it because it wasn't the right kind of meditation or whatever, and it probably would have helped. Anyone who practices meditation is wrangling their brains, changing what they're firing and wiring. But, you have these people, or they come to a 3-day or a 4-day workshop, and at the beginning they're highly anxious, and at the end of it they're not, because they're in this space where they're able to create coherence, and they're supported to create coherence. And they have enormous amount of experience of, oh my God, this feels good. I remember this now. I know how to do this, and I know I can do this. And all of that experience says, I know now how not to be anxious. Now, I've still got to practice. I've got to go back into my life and practice being this person who is feeling safe in the world. But they get this enormous download of experience, and, experience enriches the brain. You have positive experience. You're going to make a whole lot of connections to support that. And then it's easy to go away and remember that and practice it some more and get more coherent. So this is how we deal with anxiety. I really know this because it works for me. And I understand the neuroscience of it because I've listened to Joe Dispenza explain it many times, because I study his work and I read his books and I learn from other sources that I very carefully select. So I know I started off talking about obsessing about good things, but I know that can be very, very difficult if you're really used to and stuck in obsessing about bad things. So how do you break that thing where you're just stuck in the, climbing up the walls, wanting to crawl out of your skin, whatever it is? That is a very incoherent and very painful state of mind. How do you do that? So this is what I learned. And we've got a few minutes, even allowing for me being, not pushing the button at the right time. We've got a couple of minutes. So what I learned is that when your brain is incoherent, a way to start to create coherence is to take your attention, not just off the thing that you're obsessing about, but to take your attention off kind of everything. Because when we're in stress and when we're in survival and when we're in fear and everything, we're highly focused. Like, this is the thing. No, that's the thing. No, that's the thing. And we've got a really narrow focus because we're looking for that thing to run away from or to fight or to freeze and hide, to escape the danger. And the narrow focus just fires the body up more into, I need to run away, or I need to fight, or I need to freeze. The narrow focus does it. So what we have to do is start to open our focus. How do you do that? Oh, perfect timing, you see. I have a pause for the buzz, because it's loud. I know it's loud. So for me, and I've gotten really good at this now, I close my eyes, although I can do it with my eyes open. And I put my sensory awareness, it's much easier with your eyes just closed to start with, because, visual information is really distracting, right? I've got to see this, I've got to see that, there's colour, there's shape, there's form, and it fires up associative neural networks. I see green, and I remember there's a green cushion, there are more green cushions, whatever, the brain, shut that information off. Going for a walk in nature is really helpful because it helps the brain slow down. But most of all, put your awareness in the space around you. Like, if you shut your eyes right now, if you're dealing with some kind of fear or anxiety, if you shut your eyes and bring your attention just to your breath, which is the mindfulness thing, but we're not going to stay there. And then, imagine the space on either side of your head, the space just around your ears. I'm putting my hands here, but just imagine the space around your ears. You see, you have to open your focus to do that. Can you imagine the space behind your shoulders? Just like a warm blanket, as if you had a blanket over your shoulders. But just imagine the space behind your shoulders. Just put your awareness there. You're not just looking at it, you're allowing your awareness to go into that space. And what about if you put your awareness, I don't know, either side of your hips, around your hips, like, if you were in the swimming pool wearing one of those donut things that, like kids wear, right? You're in a swimming donut, but it's around your hips and it's just space. And you're putting your awareness there. There's nothing to see, but you're sensing and feeling the space. And just by putting your attention around your body, you are starting to open your focus. And with some time spent doing it, and with practice, and I can't speak highly enough of Joe Dispenza's meditations and what I've learned from them, you can learn to open your focus and shut your anxiety down. It's going to take some practice. And for some of you, it's going to take a ton of work. And what I can say is that ton of work, you get yourself back. And it is so worth getting yourself back. And beyond getting yourself back, you're getting your life. And you start obsessing about good things. And it's pretty cool when you wake up and start to think, well, what am I going to create today? Who do I want to be today? And you're not assaulted by the same default mode network that I spoke about yesterday, which says, watch out, the shit's going to hit you. You can make that change. So that's what I wanted to say today. And this is what we are capable of doing. Big love. I know I'm over time, but you see I love this topic. I look forward to your comments. Facebook stopped showing me after a while, so I'll respond later. Lots of love until tomorrow. Bye-bye.